One thing, the MV-8000 is a time traveler, yo. So we all know the MV-8800 and 8000 are basically the same piece of hardware with a few tweaks. They were so close together that most people who had the MV-8000, if they went on and got the 3.5.1 upgrade, they were like, I don't need to get an 8800. But the 8800 did have a couple more things about it, like the pattern buttons in the song mode here, as well as some more presets for the mastering suite that we don't get for the 8000, and some preloaded bass synth patches. Now, even though the 8000 is said on the Roland website, at least when you look at the 3.5, it says it has a dual oscillating synth that's unique to the 8000. It didn't say it shared it with the 8800. Just with the update, they didn't get we didn't get the bass patches, but we got a dual oscillating synthesizer in here, which is very great. They also got pattern play, and somebody need to straighten me out on the pattern play on the 8800. Is that like where you can play live with a tempo like your finger drumming, but it's actually patterns in pattern mode? Somebody please let me know what pattern play is and what the difference is, other than you guys got a button for it. Because on the MV-8000 you have to take your mouse and go up to the corner and then get into pattern mode, or just lay down a pattern track. But somebody let me know what the difference is. But one of the superpowers of the 8000 that the 8800 can't do, I think it can read CD drive program files from the MPCs and all that. But this one, you can read floppy disk from older S series Akai files and S series files and MPC 3000 files, right? So these came from an old MPC that I had actually saved on. I had moved the files around and saved not only a floppy disk copy, but a CD drive, a hard CDR copy. So of program files, right? One shots, some of my favorite one shots. And let me tell you, the texture on here is just like the MPC. So it's like, this is not an MPC emulation or somebody's cooked up version of MPC sounds. I mean, nobody even uses rim shots anymore. You know what I mean? And these are straight from my MPC with no fuzz, no input noise. This is just a raw file. So whatever it sounded like in MPC, it sounds like it here. And this is just the tip of the iceberg that makes this into a super sampler. I mean, I literally sampled the parts how I used to sample. Like, I'd sample the parts as loops, as whatever it was in the MPC, I would sample that into my Phantom X, and then sample that from the Phantom back into the MPC on one pad, like the whole song, like that first little thing. This is a whole song. All these are parts to that song. All those are parts to one song, and they're all on pads. And I do the same thing with all of them. Basically making your own loop kits with an MPC. A little 16 level action. No multi-sample, but 16 levels just does something. Anybody can tell me what vocalist that is? And all these are ripe to be used as phrases, as partials, or even as patterns, like I've done here. I've taken this song, this is a 16 bar loop that I've chopped up as partial into just a lot of pieces. So the first 4 bars are just nice little 8 bar loops and 4 bar loops. Like, this is a 2 bar loop. It's just the organ stab. Just the little verse part. Yeah, back in the day. I want to take the drums out, but you know. There's the horns and the little hook part. And those are two 8-bar loops on the pads. But I've taken those and this is 2 bars on 12 pads. 1, 2, 3, and 2, 2, 3, and that's it. And I can just go from pad to pad. Next. Next. Now this makes it perfect. Next. Perfect for laying as a phrase sample in step record on the MV. You just lay this out and turn these into patterns and really get nasty with the sample part. Twelve 2-bar loops. And that is what makes this thing a super sampler. And it is what makes the sampler on here so underwhelming. And it is the only thing that really stands out, other than the sequencer. Let me correct that. The sequencer stands out too, but most people are just amazed at, or just most people are disappointed in how underwhelming that sampler seems. I personally look at it like this. That sampler is complementary. It wasn't the feature of the unit. You know, all the other cool tools are the feature of the unit. The sampler was like, hey, we got to put a sample on here because people are sampling. So let's just give them a sampler. I think that's why the 404 Mark II came out a little after, but that's another story. However, this is not unusual for the MV, surprisingly. This MV right here didn't have a sampler at all. But it's basically, in their own words, a sequencer synthesizer MIDI mixer. An external controller is required. It can use 2 extra ROMs in addition to the onboard U220. Has the filters of the D70, right? And the sequencing power of the MC50, right? Sounds great and can be manipulated beyond recognition. You can hold up to 1,024 sounds on one disc. But what makes it a killer machine is the real-time volume of pan and effects that you can control from the sliders with the external gear and the internal gear. That sounds like a songwriting machine for me. It sounds like closer to the MV-1 Verselab. So it seems like to me the first MV was basically used for a multi-instrumentalist or songwriter, right? Multi-instrumentalist songwriter like a Prince or Phil Collins or somebody who could craft a whole song on the back of a tour bus, right? That seems like who it was really truly aimed at. The MV-8000 we know is aimed at R&B and hip hop directly. They took the interface from the MPC direct. I mean, it looks just like a 3000, but they put a few really grimy hip hop elements that they had from the SP808 and 808EX, which is where that dual oscillating synthesizer that I mentioned earlier came from. The layout with the control knobs 1, 2, and 3 right above the 16 pads, and along with how the samples are held in the phrase mode on the pads. All that is a port over from the SP808 and SP808EX. So that is the difference between these MVs and that MV and the MV-30. The MV-1 Verselab and MV-30 are basically mobile song writers tools, right? What you guys think? Yay or nay? Songwriters tools, MV-30, MV-1 Verselab. Let me know in the comment section. Peace.